Good evening and welcome to our Q&A session on the exciting Pitch in fundraiser that we launched earlier this week at Altrincham Football Club. Thanks very much for sending your questions in. We've got an esteemed panel with us this evening. We've got Paul Carter, our General Manager. We've got Sam McKenzie, our Partnership Manager. Andrew Flynn, our Social Media Guru. Chris Parry joined the board recently, one of our Canadian friends from over the pond, and co-chairman Lawrence Looney. We've got 10 questions to go through this evening, and thanks very much again for sending the questions in. We've had a good response, as we always do, to these Q&As. And we're going to start off with a question from Dave Johnson. And Dave asks, once the new pitch is in use, will we invest in full pitch covers and necessary runoff drainage? Secondly, full pitch covers would give better protection against frost, rain and snow. Would you not agree? So who's going to kick that one off?
Yeah, I'll do that, Brian.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks for the question, Dave. Yeah, the existing covers we've got are obviously, people will be aware, they're very, very heavy to put on the pitch. They don't currently cover the whole of the pitch. And when they're wet, water standing on them, it's a massive, massive job. And you need lots and lots of people there to move them off. The ground staff just can't manage that on their own. We're hoping that, obviously, the extra drainage that's going to go into the pitch will negate any flooding on the pitch and standing water, because there's going to be lots and lots of extra drainage going in there. We had to price up some frost covers for an application we had to put in case we got promoted to the EFL. And, you know, for new frost covers, you're looking in the region of sort of £20,000. So we're hoping we don't have to use them. If we have to use them in certain areas at certain times, then Neil and his gang will, but we may have to call on supporters to come and help us put them on and take them off at very short notice. So if we do use them, please be ready and willing to come and help us out.
Thanks, Paul. Anybody got anything else to add to that?
I was just going to add to Paul's answer, really, in terms of, I think the current ones, as I think the fans are probably aware, have not done the job we would have liked them to do. I mean, we have used them a few times, but I think hopefully the new pitch will hold up better. But if it doesn't, then like Paul says, we've got a price for new ones, and we'll be looking to see what we can do with the old ones, maybe see if we can get a sale on them and then use that funds to purchase some new ones. But we clearly, I think, need pitch covers for when we get the new pitch down. But fingers crossed, we won't need to use them anywhere near as much as we had to when obviously we were struggling with the drainage on the current pitch.
Thanks, Lawrence. Okay, let's move on to the next question, which comes from Jeremy Arnold. This question came in on Twitter. Jeremy asks, why start a project like this and rely on fan funding, which is essentially charity, where you'd have to know you'd have the funds to complete it? So you'd like to take that one?
I'll take that.
Thanks, Chris.
It's really half a dozen of one and six of the other. We could have done a fundraiser to pay for taking the management team full time. We could have done a fundraiser for any number of things that we're working on currently. This is just one where it sort of lends itself to a half celebratory bunch of perks that we can share with people as we go through it. We knew we were going to upgrade the pitch. There's no question about it. The question was, were we going to do it the cheap way or the slightly more expensive way that will serve the club better? We've managed to get some grants in, so that's good. If the club had decided to put in the rest of the money itself, we just need to raise money for the next thing that came along. So, we might as well put our hands in now while, we're all in good mood for the fact that we've stayed up this season and that we're still thinking about the potential of promotion. And when it comes down to it is, if you don't want to put your hand out and help out, you really don't have to. We've created some rewards for those that do, and we think they're pretty fun. And you know, as it turns out, in the first 2 days that this thing's been up, we've fulfilled 25% of the target, which is pretty good going since we're going to be up for 60 days. But you know, off the Indiegogo page, we've matched that and then some with some other initiatives with sponsors and whatnot that I'm sure Sam will talk about later on.
Thanks, Chris. That's great. Okay, let's move on to a question from Simon Ellis, is one of the Radio Robbins commentators, also a headmaster in Wales for information. And we weren't quite sure whether this question was a real question or a joke question, but it could be a real question and it could be relevant. So we're going to ask it. Again, this one comes on from Twitter. If I sponsor a square, Simon says, will you cut it out and send it to me?
I'll take that one, Brian. I mean, it's actually come up a couple of times now. So I don't actually know if it's possible to take a piece of the pitch and chop it up and then send it out to fans or not. But I'm more than willing to ask the contractor. And if it is possible, I think we could have a bit of fun with it. So I'm not sure if it's a joke question or not, but I'll ask the question. And if we can do it, we'll find a way of doing it.
Great. Thank you very much, Lawrence. Next question comes from Erinbo Carroll, and Erinbo asks, due to the pitch having to be replaced, what supplier company will we be using and how much will it cost to replace the pitch and drainage?
Yeah, I'm happy to take that, Brian. Thanks for the question, Erinbo. The company we're going to use to do the job is a company called Duncan Ross. Duncan is the guy we've been dealing with direct, and he has a team of guys that will be doing the work under his supervision. Very experienced company in renovating sports pitches. They've done plenty of football pitches over the years, and they will be hopefully on the ground for about 3 weeks. And then the pitch will be ready to start growing again. And then Neil and the groundsman will get involved with the preparation of getting the pitch ready for the start of the season. Well, they're a very, very experienced company. We've had a couple of meetings with them. They're based in Lancashire, so they're fairly local to us. And we're very pleased and been very impressed with what they've shown us. So we hope it's going to turn out to be a smashing pitch at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I'll just pick up on the costs. I'll just pick up on the cost side, Brian, just to answer that part of the question. So the total cost estimate at the moment is just short of 185,000 to do the pitch. I may have mentioned on a previous Q&A that we had two options really. There was a much cheaper option, and then there was a more expensive option. And when you look at the difference between the two, we always decided that if we could afford it, we'd go for the more expensive option. We do get this part funded by the foundation, the Football Foundation. We have had to work extremely hard for that grant, and we have had some confirmation, but just waiting for further confirmation from them. And they should pay up to hopefully about 70% of the total cost. But it still does leave us with, even if they pay that, it leaves us with circa about 60,000 for us to pay. So, it's probably one of the most amounts of money we've ever spent on the football pitch. But I think, as we said in previous Q&As, we do see it as, one of the critical areas that we need to invest in. When we've spoken to Phil in the past and Neil, one thing when we were talking to them about next season, they wanted some reassurance on was the pitch. And, the fans have made it also quite rightly very clear that, the pitch has to be a priority. So it feels like a lot of money, 185,000. We've worked hard with the foundation. We're working hard with the fundraiser, that we've got out at the moment. And, we're really looking forward to putting that new pitch down. It should have a good long life on it. And fingers crossed, giving our players and our fans the pitch they deserve.
Great. Thanks very much, Paul and Lawrence. Now, with the next two questions, we've sort of rolled into one, and they've come from the fans forum, and they're related, so we've rolled them into one question. Glyn Vero asks, is there any chance of sponsoring a specific square of the pitch rather than a random one? And Barry Pikesley says, "Oh, is it possible to sponsor a specific corner flag?"
Yeah, I think that's one for me, Brian, and thanks both for that question. Due to the nature of the fundraiser with all the various perks and opportunities that we've put out there, we have opted to place everything onto the Indiegogo fundraising page itself. And that does include the pitch sponsorship incentive. So yeah, breaking it down into squares, posts, corner flags, penalty spot, and of course the centre circle as well. So this has primarily been done to reduce admin time across the volunteers. So yeah, we are assigning areas of the pitch to fans at random by default. It's also been vital for us to try and put as much of the money through that Indiegogo platform as possible, to give the best visual representation of the total going up for the fundraiser overall. Anyway, all of that said, there's absolutely nothing stopping anyone getting in touch to make a request or specify, you know, a specific square or area of the ground that they would like to sponsor, for whatever reason. So the easiest way to go about that would just be to pay as standard through the fundraising page itself, and then message the club or even myself. I'll be working on the artwork, so I'm probably the best person to go direct to through the forum or social media. Yeah, just specify what you're after, what square. We'll try and make it, you know, we'll do our absolute best to make sure it happens for you, subject to availability, of course.
We should mention that the corner flags are taken.
They all gone.
They're all gone. You've got to be quick.
Like, disaster for Barry.
Yeah.
Have to take the centre circle now.
Yeah, hope that answers that one though.
Brilliant. That's great. Well, that's great news that they've all gone. Superb.
Yeah, all the corners and the penalty spots were the first things to go.
Okay, has anybody got anything else to add there?
The aspect that I've been dealing with is sort of more the physical side of getting everybody there. So we're actually physically using the pitch, which is great. So it's a bit of a final hoo-ha. Got quite a few initiatives going on there. The response has been fantastic. The overall sort of sponsor, there's a corporate sponsor package. I really do want to mention them because people have been from the get-go straight on it, which has been fantastic. The responsibility. So we've got Premium Collections, RHM and Sons, Longworth and Taylor, Waterson's Estate Agents, Bodkini and Bapp in Altrincham, and from Switzerland, Sachin, who they've already started the ball rolling with the corporate sponsor. That package, you kind of come with us through the whole thing from start to completion. Named in all the comms going out all on the social media. Obviously, much more information. Again, we keep saying contact me directly or look on the the website. And part of that, you actually come back to a match next season and spend the time with the director, with a director or the directors. So you sit with the directors. That's a really great opportunity. Obviously, we want to get their businesses. The really nice thing is we've had new people, so it's not people we're already dealing with. So from us commercially. And growing the people we're working with in Altrincham, that's been fantastic. So obviously that's an option. There's a five-a-side tournament going ahead, which is great. Really looking forward to that. A quick shout, we've got a ladies team, which is fantastic. Super pleased about that. We've got Ross Willington from Armstrong Projects. He's already put 3 teams in. So I would suggest he wants the prize, and the prize is to come back. We'll accommodate them, give them a fantastic time, up to 7 people. They can come into the newly refurbished Sponsors Lounge. We'll really look after them. So it's a great prize. It'll be a really good networking day as well. Noel and I are working quite hard on that. So the people that do come to the ground, the five-a-side is 10-minute games. We're sticking with 12. There's still some places, but we're sticking with 12 teams on that. So it'll be a really good sort of afternoon and evening. There'll be an element of small hospitality. All of this will be done just for the, with the COVID, we're really stringent about that. We've got, as we've said before on the calls and people that have experienced, the ground is a really safe place to be. We've got Paul working alongside Nigel, making sure it's all COVID safe. And then another initiative which has been really well received is sort of One Last Chance, and we're doing that over the bank holiday. That's an 11-a-side game. We've got Gary Morris doing it. We've got a little thing going on with Timperley Unicorn Athletic and Timperley Villa Hornets. They're coming. Libero, they're doing one. We've got a couple more spaces for that. We also, a personal shout out, if anybody in the five-a-side would like to enter a team and extend your charitable nature, Noel and Paul really want to play in it. I think they think Phil's going to sort of turn up, and I think they think that. But I'm just saying they think that. But anybody, as well as your financial contribution, if you want to be charitable, even for 2 minutes, give them a run out. Give them a run out.
Charity only goes so far, Sam.
Well, you said that. You said it, Chris. But from my point of view, just already a huge thank you to, to the season ticket holders, to the corporate people, the businesses we're dealing with, to the people of Altrincham. Fantastic so far. And as Chris said before, we've got how many more days, Chris? 60 days, were you saying? So, yeah, amazing. And really, thank you already. And I think each of those, a physical presence and as I say, last hoo-ha for the pitch, I think there'll be really great days and really great fun things to do. So that's kind of where I'm coming from, unless I've missed anything. But so a really great opportunity.
Sorry about that, guys. The light just went off in my office. I think I'll hop back on there, Sam, if I may, and just go through the Indiegogo page in a bit more detail and just give everyone a bit of an insight into what's going on there. So. Yeah. I think the Indiegogo page itself was inspired by last summer's Fan Zone fundraiser, and that was coordinated by Define Architects and Libero. So anyone who supported that one will remember that those guys did a really good job of incentivizing fundraising by offering the tiles on the pods, and there were a couple of other incentives there. So you'll see we've tried to create different rewards ourselves for this, to reach out to different tastes. For example, there's the artwork with the 350 Club perk that features an illustration of Jake Malt, Simon Richmond and Sean Densmore. So we've had this custom created for the fundraiser, and the lads are going to be signing those. So there's like one sort of taste. You've got like the artwork collectible sort of feel. And then at the same time, we've also got the option to add items into a time capsule that's going to be buried under the new pitch. And this is probably the incentive that I'm the most excited about. I'm not too sure what I'm going to add into that yet, but we'll be documenting everything that goes underneath the pitch into the capsule. So, when it's brought back out the next time it's dug up, which is hopefully in the far, far distant future, we could get some really cool content out of it for whoever's doing the social in that distant future. What else have we got? So for those who are more of into like the experience sort of based rewards, or want to get a bit closer to the action, we've got the Director for the Day experience. And that gets you into like the heart of the boardroom with the likes of Lawrence, or you've got the commentary experience reward too, where you could end up picking up the mic alongside our esteemed colleague, Mr. Brian Flynn. So yeah, just really, we've tried to make it, the case of it being something for everyone. And there really has been a big team of volunteers working on this as a project. It's definitely the biggest sort of task force for fundraising that I've been involved with at Alti, and I think it's a good sign of where we're moving with regards to how many people are willing to get involved now. I think it's going to be like a core prerequisite for fundraising at Alti going forward, and I think it's something that Lawrence touched on in the release of this, was that if the club needs to ask the fan base for financial support, we need to make sure that we're giving back as much as we can, and we're rewarding people for that money. And it's something that we haven't always done historically. So it's nice to be part of a fundraising campaign that has that incentive.
Great. So some great opportunities there. And Sam, it sounds like we've had a flying start here, and particularly good to see the response from the Altrincham business public and beyond there, because times have been tough for them, but there's a lot of goodwill for the club, it seems.
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously being promoted, the way we've been playing, the promotions, I think Alti TV's been really reached out to people. Let's face it, where's anybody gone? I think that's been a fantastic initiative of engaging people watching the matches. So I think we've converted some new people there. I mean, I think ultimately we really want to also work hard in converting people to come and watch us and come and be a season ticket holder, come and be a stakeholder, whether it be a season ticket or buying the merchandising or buying a board, or really working with us in terms of opportunities. And I think that the more we're linking with Altrincham, and as I say, I can't stress enough that, I mean, it was almost like, Noel will vouch for it, it was almost like a bit of a telethon in the office, and the emails were coming in. I mean, literally, it was a great vibe. We were really, taking the calls, responding as quick as we can. And I'm sure that'll continue with it as people, talk about it. The more engagement we have, with Altrincham, I do say it quite a bit. I just think, definitely, Brian, it's definitely, it's really great. We're being talked about, which I think is great.
Fantastic. Okay, thank you. Right, next question.
Brian, can I just quell these rumours that Sam said? Noel and I are considering many offers, and we're going to put ourselves out to the highest bidder eventually. So there's no problem about that. Me and Noel are going to get on that pitch.
Fantastic.
Look out, step 9.
Yeah, I think Barcelona is still interested.
Absolutely.
Right, next question. Stuart Buchan says, pitch covers. As part of the pitch works, will the previously crowd-funded pitch covers then be used to full effect regularly with the support required to do so? If not, can we commit to sell them on now to fund the right pitch works rather than leave them to degrade the ground?
Yeah, I'll take that, Brian. Yeah, thanks, Stuart. We will look obviously to sell on the covers to help fund any new covers that are coming in eventually. It's pretty much a straightforward answer. I don't see them being used as much as we have done in the past, and that's just basically down to my earlier answer, where we're hoping the pitch with the new drainage is going to be drain a lot better. We're not going to have the standing water. We're not going to have any flooding on it. So, but yeah, any covers that are left there, we will look to move on to help fund any future covers.
Thanks, Paul. Next question is from Eddie Bishop, and Eddie says, when we get the new surface, will we have full-time ground staff to keep it up to scratch?
The idea with the new pitch is that it will require a lot less hand-holding than currently. Right now, it's there's a lot of damage control that's being done with the staff that are there. But when it's unusable, it's not because the staff aren't available. It's not because we're not manning it enough. It's just because the drains don't work. So when the drains work and the water's taken away, then you're dealing with just regular old pitch maintenance rather than, what the hell are we going to do with this lake? As things stand, when the pitch needs a lot of TLC, there are plenty of volunteers that are very good at what they do that come out. But we don't anticipate the need to have someone sitting there waiting for something to go wrong. Paul can probably add to that.
Yeah, I mean, just to add to that, Chris, is the current model that we have with Neil and his volunteers is going to be enough to manage the new pitch when it's down. This has been discussed with the contractor. Neil's had in-depth discussions with Duncan Ross about how they move forward once the pitch is down. So we don't see any major changes being made in the near future.
Okay, thanks, gentlemen. Penultimate question comes from Fraser Thorley, and Fraser says, are the plans for the proposed pitch modifications available for all to view?
Yeah, I'll have to state this again, Brian. There's no actual plans, Fraser. We've got a detailed specification of all the work, from them coming on site and setting it up as a building site, which is what it will be for 2 to 3 weeks. And that specification is, as I say, very, very deep for the work that needs to be done. As we've said in an earlier answer, they're a very experienced company. They come with very good references and testimonials from other clubs and other sports grounds. So there's no actual plans that we could show you, but the specification is very, very detailed. And I think Lawrence may want to add to that. I think he's seen that as well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely, Paul. I think there's a great detail in it. We've obviously had some time with the contractor, and I'm very confident that he will deliver a great pitch for us. So yeah, I mean, that was a very good answer, Paul. Nothing much else to add. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Paul and Lawrence. And our final question comes from Freddie Stott. And Freddie says, I'm impressed by the ambition of the pitch project, and I look forward to making a contribution once I choose my reward. I'm interested as to how we see use of the pitch from external agencies going forward. Will use of the pitch remain a revenue stream for the club, or will we prioritise condition of our pitch over this?
Yeah, I'll take this one, Brian, and thank you, Freddie. Hopefully, with Andrew's update, you know what reward to take now. Today we only have one contract for the pitch, and that's with Man United. We don't contract out to anyone else. In the future, our plans are to keep the Man United contract in place. That's down to the commercial side of it. It's a strong contract for us, and one that we've looked after for quite a few years, and hopefully we'll have in place for a few years to come. So no change, just the Man United contract. The rest will be focused on the football activity in the club.
Okay, that's great. Anything to add to that, anybody?
I'd just like to say that at the end of the day, when this pitch goes down, hopefully it's going to be the perfect pitch that Phil and Neil's style of football will, once the fans are back in, will just entertain people. And that's what we've aimed to do from day one, is to make the pitch suitable for the style of football that Phil and Neil want to play. So can't wait to have the fans back in and let them see the team in the top non-league division.
Okay, thanks very much. Right, that's it. All 10 questions asked and answered. Thanks very much again to the 10 people who put questions forward. Hopefully you can see that this is a really important project for the football club, and very, very important to Phil Parkinson and Neil Sorville and the players, and the future of the football club on the field. It's a significant project. So we've had a great start, and that's superb, and there's a long way to go yet, and we'll be promoting the pitch in fundraiser over many, many weeks to come as we strive to get to our target. You'll find a link to the Indiegogo page in the description below. But it's had a great start, and hopefully you've got an insight now, a further insight into what it's all about. So thanks very much for watching this evening, and hopefully we'll have a great weekend and 3 points against Barnet. And thanks again to Sam, to Andrew, to Paul, to Chris, and to Lawrence for your contributions this evening.